George W. Bush left in, an economy in
not
shambles,
super popular when he was
and
done.
the Iraq War, and then that Trump has sort of demolished the whole past of the party. So Republicans, they're not trotting out the old hands, in part because they've cut ties with their past. So if I had to choose, I'd rather be the Democrats who have these all-star politicians.
Welcome to The Debrief, where we talk with the Washington Examiner's top journalists about the headlines they're covering and where the story's going next. I'm Sarah Bedford, and I'm here with Senior Columnist Tim Carney. Tim, former President Bill Clinton was one of the headliners at this year's Democratic National Convention, and Democrats just don't seem to care about all the baggage that he brings to the table.
It's funny, in 2018 there was a moment, remember, the Me Too moment, when there was a reckoning. You had articles in every liberal publication. The Democrats are finally reckoning with Bill Clinton's past. The fact that he sexually exploited an intern and then perjured himself about it and ruined her life, Monica Lewinsky, and other accusations of him basically being a sexual predator. And that seemed to be something they cared about in 2018. In 2020, they kind of didn't have a convention. And then in 2024, it goes back to he's a rock star primetime speaker. So that seems to be brushed under the rug, and his connections to Jeffrey Epstein as well. So one of the big attacks 8 years ago on Donald Trump was, again, the stuff he was caught on tape saying, like bragging about
It's still a big attack right now, the E. Jean Carroll case and everything.
Yes, and so, but somehow that doesn't dampen Bill Clinton's legacy in the eyes of the Democratic Party.
What do you think it says about the trajectory of the party that the big headliners that we saw were Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton, Barack Obama, people whose relevancy was at their high watermark a decade or more ago? I mean, what does it say that they don't have anyone with broad appeal in the past 10 years or so?
Sure, and that Joe Biden, the current standard bearer, is
the
relegated
midnight shift to the first
midnight
night
shift because he's obviously not fit to govern. I mean, these were once in a lifetime political talents, not Hillary Clinton, but Bill and Barack Obama. Barack Obama's skill, his speaking ability, there's nobody on either party that's as good of a speaker as him. And Bill Clinton's ability to woo voters, that's also rare, and that these are their two big stars. And the fact that they have those, though, still puts them in slightly better position than the Republicans, who don't have anything like that. George W. Bush left in, an economy in shambles,
not super popular when he was
and
done.
the Iraq War, and then that Trump has sort of demolished the whole past of the party. So Republicans, they're not trotting out the old hands, in part because they've cut ties with their past. So if I had to choose, I'd rather be the Democrats who have these all-star politicians. But again, to return to Bill Clinton, he was corrupt. He sold a pardon to Mark Rich. His wife, Mark Rich's wife, gave tons of money to the Bill Clinton Library so he would pardon people. He took money from straw donors connected with Chinese military who said out loud, "Well, I see the Clinton White House as like a Fairgate where you have to put money in," and donating $300,000 to get in. He was absolutely a corrupt politician who was guilty, sometimes to a lesser degree, but sometimes to a greater degree, of everything Donald Trump is guilty of. So they're showing they don't actually care about these flaws of Trump when they trot out Bill Clinton.
Do you think the joy, hope, optimism narrative is real? Or do you think this is a mirage that will go away after this convention?
We'll see. I mean, Kamala Harris, what gives her joy has always been sort of weird. There was a famous video of her 4 years ago talking about how she would lock up parents for truancy, and she started giggling about that. So I worry that there is something real there, and that she's going to come after pro-lifers and homeschoolers and that kind of thing. But I do think, I mean, you saw there was one video of this MSNBC reporter on the floor with the Minnesota delegation as Tim Walz was officially nominated, and he was just giddy beyond belief. I do think for sort of the left-wing activist group and the mainstream news media that leans left, there really is this giddiness because they got this massive jump in the polls when they finally knocked off Biden. And so I really do think that they feel that the wave is on their side. Whether they'll still feel that way a couple of weeks after Labor Day when the honeymoon subsides, we don't know. Whether they'll govern that way or sort of govern in the Tim Walz way of sort of beat and the Joe Biden angry speech, if you're against me, you're against democracy. that I don't think they'll govern in a pluralistic, joyful, open, hopeful way. I do think they'll be vengeful.
Well, Tim, thank you so much for being here today. You can get more writing from Tim and the rest of the commentary team at washingtonexaminer.com.